Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I've got my paper over my PC. So if for some reason you can't hear me, please let me know. I might have covered up the microphone.
And thank you for doing this, Robyn. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Oh, we have another new one. Lisa, hi there, thank you. So morning, everybody. Lovely to be here with you. I'm like Angelou, I'm afraid. I badly need a haircut. My hairdresser's in Toronto. We've been faithful for years, so we're still hanging out till she is able to come back, but I don't know when that'll be. So I'm not quite usually this hairy, but that's okay. We'll do the best. So thanks to Helen for asking me here, and thank you for you all coming. This is great. And hopefully it'll be a helpful presentation for you. And I welcome questions, but perhaps we'll see if we can leave them till the end so we can try and get through information first. And if it's a really pressing question, by all means, just pop your hand up and I'll or ask out loud and see if I can help you right then and there. Our topic is mental health empowerment, as we said on the invitation. And we're approaching it as focusing as we are as human beings, not just necessarily as business people or as parents and family. You know, everybody sees the whole thing as in the same manner. So let's just think of ourselves as people. And I hope you can join me. I've got a couple of exercises for you to try. And once you try them, then that helps you remember it if you want to try it in your own time later. So we'll focus on those sorts of things and how we live in our lives daily to ensure we can control ourselves and our reactions to life events and other people. A reminder, and we'll talk about this a few times today, we cannot control other people. And the current COVID pandemic and the changes this has thrust upon our lives is being the prime example. So today we're focusing on how we can empower ourselves for our mental health, our well-being, physically, mentally. And I'll repeat the Angelou quote on the presentation summary. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. And this is what our hope is today. So let me just ask you to ponder on a couple of questions. I won't ask for your answers right now, but just to throw them out there. Are you aware that 80% of our thoughts are negative? And are you aware that our brain has a negativity bias? So both of these are true. Therefore, we actively need to consciously be aware of our thoughts and realizing if we get stuck on negative thoughts and we start to feel affected by them, then these thoughts are not serving us well. But it's a natural progression in the brain. We need to let those thoughts just keep passing through our mind if they are negative and not acting on them, just like visualizing clouds passing across the sky. Just let them keep on moving. Don't focus on them. Just pause and take a breath and let those thoughts keep moving onwards without taking action. Because our thoughts create our feelings, which create our actions. And here's a mindful suggestion on a way to pause, and it's called Press Pause from Padre Omaran. He's a mindfulness expert. When you're moving too fast, mindful pauses in your day can slow things down and help you see more clearly. Awareness of your breath, posture, or physical activities without mental commentary creates mindful pauses. He has a tip to try. Now and then, dip into awareness of your breath or posture for a mindful pause. And we're going to practice a couple of those ones today. So mindfulness is focusing on our breath to calm ourselves down in the moment and can be done quickly and silently, plus be highly effective, and it interrupts and diverts our negative thinking. So breath is particularly important And a simple exercise that can also, a big plus for this one, it can also calm the blood pressure and quickly. And it's called the straw breath by Dr. Ronnie Newman. So this exercise can have a couple of benefits if they apply to you or someone that you know. It can be a simple one to show someone too. So here's the exercise. I'll explain it to you and then we can try it together. So it's called the straw breath. Imagine if you're in a stressful situation, perhaps even with a medical appointment or an emergency, and you want to get centered and to calm yourself down. Pause and place your mind on your breathing. Breathe in slowly through the nose from the diaphragm up to the top of the lungs. Breathe out slowly, pursing your lips as if blowing through a straw. If you'd like to try with me now, so we repeat. So we're breathing in slowly through the nose, filling the belly, diaphragm, and you can put your hand on your belly and feel it expand into your hand if you wish. If you want to close your eyes and try this, it can help you focus on it too. So breathe in slowly through the nose, right from your belly, your diaphragm, deeply down, up to your lungs. Hold your breath briefly. And now slowly breathe out, pursing the lips as if you're blowing through a straw. Imagine you've got a straw in your mouth and blow down that way gently. Okay, let's repeat this slowly for 4 more breaths, doing it ourselves. I'll walk you through it, but do it in your mind as well as we go. So just do it slowly. And if there was ever a real situation and you needed more calming down, you could do this for about 9 breaths. We'll just try 4 today just to sort of anchor it into our thinking here. And you will definitely calm down. So let's start breathing in deeply from the diaphragm, through the nose gently. Hold it briefly. Hi, Michelle, we're just doing an exercise. You can join us.
Thank you.
And as you breathe out, purse your lips, and as if you're pretending you're breathing in, into a straw, blowing out through a straw. In through the nose, slowly, 2, 3, 4, up to your lungs. Hold, 1, 2. Breathe out slowly, 4 count, blowing through a straw. Breathe in slowly, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2. Out 4 through the straw. Last one. Breathing in to a count of 4, deep from your diaphragm. Hold, 1, 2, out for the count of 4 through the straw. 4. Finish with a smile on your face. It might just actually happen. Okay, how do you feel? Anyone like to give any feedback?
Relaxed.
Great. Thanks, Teresa.
I feel lightheaded.
Okay, perhaps you were breathing too quickly or shallowly, maybe? What do you think?
I was going to say the same thing as Angelou. I started to feel lightheaded.
Lightheaded, okay. Okay, then maybe don't breathe in so long. You know, maybe for you, you need to just breathe in a little less and maybe out a little less. Alter for how it feels good for you, because you want to feel good is the ultimate idea. You don't want to feel lightheaded, because the idea is that it calms you down and it calms down the blood pressure as well. So they don't want you passing out just because you've been trying to calm yourself down. Else there's another emergency. Okay, well, thanks for that feedback. That's interesting. So yes, I suggest adjust it for yourself if you want to try that and see if you can make it feel better. So moving on, to allow for more ease and grace for ourselves, we need to focus on moving frustration, anxiety, or negativity to the positives. And we create that, we can create for our mental and physical well-being. Taking responsibility for our own well-being and be willing to learn new ways of being or looking at things. We can learn to adjust our habits, eliminate old paradigms, limiting behaviors or attitudes. Dr. Kim Duramo says our emotions have a huge impact on symptoms in our physical body. And tapping allows us to access our bodies and its wisdom. Tapping is something else called emotional freedom technique, and I won't describe it hugely here today, but it's a very simple technique that a lot of people are teaching and doing these days, and you're simply tapping on meridians on your body, and you're speaking as you do it, and you're actually letting go of thoughts that are negative and emotions in your body, and that's what Dr. Duramo is saying. He has a book called the Mind Body Toolkit, and she has helped her patients hugely with helping eliminate even chronic diseases using this and other things, but this hugely is her main part of releasing tension in the body. So in that regard, we'll also review today briefly topics, and I'll explain them, about our paradigms, our attitude and self-image, gratitude, forgiveness and appreciation, mindset, mindfulness and our breath. We've done a little on that, but we'll do more, and letting go. So paradigms. This is from Bob Proctor. Bob has been doing this and studying for 60 years this year, and paradigms is one of his huge major starting points. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. So that's the issue. And the other thing is paradigms are programs in our subconscious mind that control our behavior. They're often self-limiting and mostly stop us from doing what we want in our life. We absorb these learnings from all around us in our life up to around age 7. There's no blame here. It's just the way that human beings operate with the conscious and subconscious mind. We have two portions of our mind. You've probably heard people talk of them, the conscious and the subconscious, and that's where Bob explains a lot. It's a complex topic, but I'll just briefly give you backgrounds today to help understand. And you might wonder why we have so many negative thoughts, especially when we may feel life is good. So these points may partially help explain this. Paradigms have an enormous influence over these areas of our life. Our ability to earn money, our perception, our use of time, our creativity, our effectiveness, our productivity, and our logic. So if we consciously decide to change them, we can begin to improve any or all of these areas of our life. Change can be huge and permanent, and there are many ways to change them. We won't cover all of that in depth today. However, 3 ways and techniques to do this briefly. One of them I mentioned was EFT, or it's also called the tapping technique. And we've just had the 13th annual Global Tapping Solution Summit recently in March. And it's huge. There's so many practitioners now doing this around the world, and a lot of holistic doctors are becoming holistic and realizing how these techniques can help people along with their mental and their physical well-being. And instead of perhaps being prescribed a prescription that just covers the cause, this is actually getting to the real cause of the issues in your body. And they're quite harmless. They're simple really to do. Another one is the Leftco Method. Again, it's a husband-wife team who started this years and years ago, and they deal with getting rid of self-limiting beliefs, and they also do work with children, which is really quite wonderful. And a very simple one also is if you write out a self-limiting belief and you have the intention that you want to let it go, and then burn that piece of paper carefully, is a simple start of helping you start releasing something negative that you want to let go. A self-limiting belief is something that keeps stopping you, and you want to let it go, and you might have tried, but it just doesn't seem to go away. And we're finding out why, because it's probably stuck as a paradigm for us. That could be self-doubt, it could be self-image, it could be, limitations on how much you think you can earn. It can be self-confidence. It's all these things that we are during life. There's also countless other self-developmental teachers, and I can give you any names of those, or if anyone's interested at some stage to want to find out more about any of them, I've got lots of contacts I can pass on there. And it depends what resonates for you and works for you. Some people like one technique better than another, and we call it a technique, but it's something to understand for yourself. Moving on to attitude and self-image. I need to sort of keep moving here with you. Attitude is our thoughts, feelings, and actions. They control every aspect of our life, and when we change it, our life will change. Self-image is the foundation of our success. And Bob says, for example, if children get poor grades in school, often it is the self-image paradigm that needs to improve. Over and over, he said he wishes this information was taught in schools because we just never learn it in life. And if people could start their lives knowing this, many lives could turn out very differently. So if we can spread the word and help as many people with it as we can, that's my goal. And I'll quote Maya Angelou again. She says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Moving on to gratitude, appreciation, and forgiveness. Gratitude seems simple, yet it is a powerful mindset. We have so many things generally in our lives, and especially in Canada, to feel grateful for every day. Gratitude can help focus our mind on the positive things in our lives, such as spring is coming and the warm sunshine often brightens our day. Not today as yet, unfortunately. We can be grateful for small things as well as larger things. And when you consciously focus on what you are grateful for, you likely will notice even more things in your life to be grateful for. It can be as simple as consciously saying it to yourself or saying it out loud. Noticing and saying what it is that you're grateful for that your children or employees or co-workers or spouse are doing, and acknowledging this with a warm smile and love in your heart can make a wonderful contribution to the other person's well-being. Some people write in a gratitude journal daily before they end their day, being grateful for what happened in their life that day and why. It also helps you to notice things in the moment and mentally note it with your gratitude attitude. Marie Forleo shares a highly effective practices to cultivate a loving, vibrant, and long-term relationship. And I'll share an idea she has on appreciating and admiring our loved ones. She says, for now, here's one deceivingly simple tip you can start today. You don't even need your partner to cooperate. Look for and verbally express what you appreciate and admire about your beloved every single day. Human minds are wired to scan for what's wrong, especially when it comes to our significant other. We criticize, correct, and attempt to control them. We're quick to judge and point out, either in our head or out loud, what's not working. Her suggestion, she says, is stop that ASAP. Where the attention goes, energy flows. Make a commitment to keep looking for what's right about your partner. Focus on what they did do, who they are as a soul, and what's wonderful about them. Then proactively and verbally acknowledge that to them consistently. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm not used to talking so much. Try it for 10 days with zero attachment or expectation of reciprocation. Don't do it for them, do it for you. At your core, you are love, so commit to being love in action. Moving on to forgiveness. It's important to forgive ourselves and to forgive someone else who we feel wronged by. It is not to condemn the action. We forgive so that we can move forward in our lives. Give yourself grace, and forgiveness is always important, was a quote from a guest on The Current on CBC Radio 1, talking about when we're craving human contact when COVID fatigue is setting in. Sorry. Sorry. On another day on CBC Radio 1 Metro Morning, a mental health therapist and psychologist in Toronto was saying that some people are grieving life as they knew it. While waiting for COVID to be over and for life to get back to normal, she said this kind of thinking frightens us and fuels anxiety and the unknowns to us. Instead, what is more helpful is ask protective questions to ourselves, such as, how can I best protect myself and my wellness? How can I take care of myself? How can I de-stress? Moment-to-moment awareness, taking one step at a time, radical acceptance, and adjusting our response to it are more helpful as we control these things. These lessen the pressure and anxiety in the moment. We don't have control over COVID-19. Here's a fun explanation on how we can forgive ourselves from Padre O'Moraine, the mindfulness expert again. He calls it bamboo nature, slipping and stumbling. It's only human. We slip and stumble because we're human. This is expressed in a Buddhist concept with the funny name, bamboo nature. The concept recognizes that human frailty will always be with us and that perfection is never going to happen. Bamboo nature encourages us to relax about imperfection and not to take it too seriously. And as a try, say bamboo nature next time you forget something or do something silly. I quite like that one because it's sort of lighthearted, and if we can remember to sort of say it, it'll lighten up ourselves too if we make some little mistake or we stumble. And I sort of thought that was a little neat reminder for me anyway. Hope it may be a similar trigger for yourselves. Moving on to mindset, mindfulness, and our breath. The common denominator today of what I am sharing is going within ourselves to create change, not looking out, looking for it on the outside of us or outer circumstances, consciously taking responsibility for our lives. Some of these small changes can be helpful, and we've covered being conscious of our breath, or be conscious of your surroundings or your heart beating. Take a moment to pause and slow down and go within, and this will create calm, clarity of thought. So here you're not having to breathe differently, you're just calming yourself down by perhaps looking at nature, enjoying nature, really looking at it, or just listening to your heartbeat, or realizing you are breathing. You know, you're not doing that. Someone else is breathing you, and it just can create some calmness and clarity for you. You can also consciously focus on something new and fresh to divert your mind away, or move your body, or change your posture. There's a quote from Mercola.com. He also does tapping. You get what you focus on. Your consistent thoughts become your reality. So now we have another little exercise for mindfulness and forgiveness. And it's a little bit similar, but those of you that felt a little bit lightheaded, perhaps try to do it less vigorously or less passionately or something. But I hate to say that, but we don't want anybody getting lightheaded and passing out. So I'd like to ask each of you to do this exercise, and if you can, visualize and think of a scenario. If you want to close your eyes, that's okay. If not, that's fine. Think of a scenario where you may have reacted quickly or spoken quickly with irritation or in haste, and then shortly afterwards you may have regretted that action. Bring that scenario and emotion to mind, but don't tell me about it. Close your eyes and replay that scenario in your mind's eye, and instead pause yourself at the point where you wanted to react quickly and emotionally. Drop your focus into your heart and your breathing instead. Take a long, slow inhale breath from your diaphragm, counting into 4. Pause for a count of 2. Exhale slowly, counting to 6. You can exhale out your nose or out your mouth, whichever is easier for you. You can repeat that. Let's just repeat it 2 times this morning. So breathe in slow. Have your point where you want to not carry forward with something. You want to consciously pause yourself. Go right inside. Focus on your heart and breathe in slowly from your diaphragm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2 counts. 2. Exhale slowly for 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more time just to gel it for yourself. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6, longer than you inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you. You can open your eyes. Now consider, do you want to react in the same manner as before? Possibly not. Likely not. So if you have regretted about how that scenario occurred for you previously, you can make amends. Firstly, forgive yourself. Not to forget the incident, but to forgive yourself so you can let it go. Acceptance of yourself and move forwards. Secondly, if you wish, you can ask forgiveness from the other person you targeted with your reaction and apologize, and end with a hug, if you can, virtual or in reality, depending on the situation and timing. Do you think you'd feel better now about that whole situation if you do both of those? Anybody want to answer? Possibly? Or just nod your head?
I'll just mention what I was thinking of. It actually wasn't something that I did. It was something that my husband did. And I
Okay.
felt proud of myself because I didn't react and got angry with him because I felt he was not taking a breath and could have done differently. But I just said, okay, well, he's frustrated by things that are going on. And I gave him some space. And then we came back and I just went at it a little more openly than I might have other times. So I need to be able to reproduce that and not push back sometimes. So
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Yes. And fantastically, you caught yourself and you paused anyway. And that's what you want to do, right? You want the trigger to pause yourself, to realize not to react. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent example. Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah, practically speaking, I can see pausing. I think that's excellent.
Okay, David.
Because it avoids a quick reaction, which you may regret.
Yes.
However, I think I personally feel a little silly going through a breathing exercise while I'm pausing in front of the person that I'm having the argument with.
Okay. But they don't have to see you doing it, right?
Well,
you close your eyes.
it's sort of obvious that you're doing something, but pausing, I think, is good.
Sure. The pause is also helping you to just breathe in that pause, right? It's taking you out of your reactive mode, and it can be really fast. The person may not even notice, right? You know you've paused your reaction to something, but they may not notice because they're caught up in whatever in their heads as well, that you have just sort of gone slowly quiet for just a moment. But yes, interesting. Thank you. Anyone else? No?
Yes,
Angela.
Italians have a hard time waiting and contemplating whether to answer or not. Italians tend to be more very passionate about something, and I often think about Lisa because of it.
And I'll mention that I'm married to a Greek, so that's exactly the thing that happens.
So, us Mediterraneans need a lot of time to think, and maybe we should take those exercises more seriously. Thanks a lot, Robyn. I got to try that more often.
That's great. Thank you for the feedback, Angelou.
Yeah, thanks. That was
I
good.
hope it's helpful. Yeah. I have a coaching colleague who is Italian. I beg your pardon. She's Irish, and her husband he's just recently passed away, Italian. So she was getting used to the passion and the reactions, and sort of much more forthright than what she had been like. So yeah, I know she got some lessons from these sorts of practices as well. Super, thanks for the feedback. So almost finishing, I see the time. So to summarize, we can consciously avoid a repetition of that occurrence or something similar happening by being aware of our thoughts and not acting on them if we feel that it may be hurtful and we would regret it later. And then lastly, we'll look at letting go. Here are some ideas to help with letting go and replacing with a new thought or action that I want. Other options can be gentle, focused exercise like yoga. We've done the breathing exercises. Other ones can be walking in nature. Anything that sort of helps you calm down, gives you a break of pace, gives you a break of scenery, something else to put your focus on will help to calm you down that you enjoy doing. So make sure it's something you really enjoy doing. It will have such a more positive effect for you. We've covered tapping, which allows us to access our bodies and its wisdom with, I mentioned Dr. Kim Duramo. A few other ones kind of relevant to what we're doing now, and most of us probably do all day, or most of the day. It's important to take breaks away from the computer screen. We're always on Zoom or learning, and children are studying. If you are doing something that you can control, set a timer and schedule in breaks to move away from your screen or studying, especially students studying. You may have heard of it, a technique called the Pomodiro Technique. And it allows you to take a refreshing break from your work study day, refreshes you, lets you retain, it actually helps you retain more information than if you stayed sitting for longer periods of time. I think it recommends you have, I haven't looked at it properly for a long time. I think it says like 50 minutes of working and then take a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break, whatever works for you, and then come back and you will be more refreshed. Your brain will be fresher to then take on more information. I know people, and for myself, I work the timing a little differently for whatever works for me. A 5-minute break, you can go to the bathroom and come back. Sometimes you want to make a cup of tea, need longer. Sometimes you might want to just hop outside and have a quick breath of fresh air. Something to give you a totally change of scene, away from a screen. Not look at your phone, that's not a break. Not look at your computer screen. And I have a nephew who has used this technique, and oh my goodness, he is such an amazing student. And he actually, and I didn't realize until I read something he'd written online a year or so ago, he taught himself this Pomodiro technique and other things to become the fantastic student that he is. And he became dux of his school. He was winning all these awards, and he said he'd never had been a good student. And so these things can work for some people, sometimes they don't. So adjust anything we say to you, adjust for how it works for you. I tend to sit at my computer for a long time. I'll put it for an hour and I'm still engrossed in what I'm doing, and I'll hit the timer again and I'll go for another hour. I know it's not good, but I can stay focused that long, but I'm probably not as productive as I should be, even though I'm feeling I am, because I'm continuing in flow. It's also not healthy to sit for so long. We need to move our bodies and our posture and get that going. So try to help yourself, and I'm always learning and adjusting and trying to progress myself. So if you look up Pomodiro Technique, it would give you like the basics of it, and then just adjust those times as you wish. I see my nephew sort of pops in on a Zoom call, a family call, and he'll sort of look at his watch and say, okay, got to go now. And I figured, okay, he's given himself his 5-minute break away and he's gone back to study. He's very disciplined with what he's doing. And he's doing wonderfully. So it definitely can work. Another one that I was taught years and years and years ago is divert your eyes. I keep looking out my window here, sorry. I divert your eyes to the greenery, to natural greenery, trees, grass, or plants if you've got them in your home or your office. It gives your eyes a healthy break from the short focus on the computer, so it gives you a longer focus. The staring at the screen you get a break from, and the natural greenery is healthy for your eyes. I had a traditional Chinese doctor tell me that years and years ago. He said, look at natural greenery as much as you can when you sit at a computer a lot, because it feeds the eyes. It is a very gentle way of rejuvenating your eyes naturally by looking at natural greenery, plants, leaves. Limit your time on social media, of course, and especially before bedtime. I think they advise we should probably shut down at least half an hour before we go to bed, if not an hour. Our perceptions, judgments, be aware of and try to consciously change these or move your mind onto other things by not acting on the thoughts and let those judgmental thoughts drift on. And we make the analogy like if you want your thoughts to move on and you don't want to act on them, if you can, again, visualize something like the clouds moving across the sky. Just let your thoughts come, you acknowledge them, don't act on them, and let them go. Or whatever works for you, waves in the ocean, coming in, taking out your thoughts, flowing out to sea, or a bird flying and off into the distance if you need something easier to focus on. Something that just helps break, again, your pause, your conscious pause of your breath, or move your mind and not act. Because always, and this is a huge thing, although it sounds so simple, It is our thoughts that create our feelings, that create our actions. And again, recently on the radio, I heard from Elle Jones. She was a young girl who had created a poem, and it was on the anniversary of COVID. So it was on March the 12th. And the poem was fabulous. I actually couldn't catch it all listening, but it is on, you can find it on CBC Radio 1 or on their Twitter feed too, I think. But her last line said, "There is hope and it's within us." And I really like that. I hope today I have given you a taste of awareness about how you can empower your own mental health and the effect that can have on ourselves and others with our thoughts, feelings, and actions. And when you create a heart-centered focus in business and in relationships, Maya Angelou reminds us that I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you, and I'd be happy to take any questions if anyone has any right now, or comments, or anything you would like to say.
Sorry, could you repeat that last statement?
Maya Angelou's statement?
Yes.
Yes. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's a classic quote I've heard from her many places for years. I really like it.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I loved your presentation today, Robyn. It was very, very enlightening.
Thank you, Carl.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it just resonated with a lot of things that I do believe and try to live by. So it was just wonderful. And your voice is soothing. So very, very nice. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Robyn. It was very good.
Thank you, Angelo.
Even I got lots out of it, and I'll try that. I'll try not to breathe as heavy so I get lightheaded. I'll breathe a little bit lighter.
Breathe deeply from your diaphragm, but yes, not too deeply that you're going to be passing out. Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, I got to try that. Especially when I go on the job sites, I'm going to have to try that a lot more often before I get to the job site.
Yeah, you need that.
Yes, that's an excellent point. That's how you can prepare yourself ahead of time, right? Not just as David said, I'm not sure I want someone to see me stop and react. You could prepare yourself if you were expecting that it was going to be something anxious or, you know, in that regards. Yeah, it's a great way to calm you first off. So that's a fabulous example for yourself.
I'm going to have to try and do that before I go to these meetings now. I have a technique I'm going to be able to use before I go to the meeting. So
That's
I'm
right.
going to
Yes.
try that.
Yeah.
See how it works.
Don't get lightheaded and fall over before you.
True. Yeah, it
No.
can be called a centering exercise, Angelo. So that's exactly it. And that's what I do. I breathe deeply into my body, into my heart, sort of, you know, into from my abdomen, and centering myself before I want to start and before I did the presentation. So yeah, perfect. You've turned that into something really useful for yourself. That's great.
Thank you. Anyways, that's really great. Yeah,
Thank you. Michelle?
I was just thinking that this is a great exercise any time in our lives, but more particularly right now, a lot of us are very tired and very frustrated. And so all of the society is more short-tempered maybe than we would normally be. I'm not saying that I am. I'm just saying all of us as a society, you know, we're cooped up in our homes with our loved ones, and certain little things. It's not even big things. Sometimes it's just the little things that can make us implode inside and react the way that we normally wouldn't. Or the person that's talking to us is setting us off by doing something, or their body, their nonverbal even. And so I think it's a very important exercise just to remember to stop and breathe and just think about, okay, you know, what is the goal here?
Yes. Excellent, excellent. And that's where Marie Forleo's little idea of if it is your partner and you know they're stressed but they sort of, you start to react because of them too. When you can, try to pause, think of the good things about them. Why did you fall in love about them? It might have been their passion. It might be, it might be the same thing that they're sort of now coming out with, but in a stressed manner. So sort of, have the patience to be able to, sort of recognize these things in different ways. Because I hear you, and we didn't cover that. Self-care for ourselves is another option that is extremely important, especially in times of COVID, where there's so much stress around us. And the point is that we can't control all of that. All we can do is control ourselves. So caring for yourself in ways that fill you up, that give you joy, that give you that peace and that comfort. Going for a walk, reading a book quietly, listening to music, talking to a friend on a phone, whatever it is that you need to help you to stay grounded, because you're dealing with a whole lot of other things around you, of people who may not feel so grounded. They might be stressed, they might be feeling overwhelmed. That's great, Michelle. Yes, so any of these things you can adapt simply for yourselves, and perhaps even to start your day, as Angelo said before he's going to start a meeting. Before you start your day, you can try and ground yourself quietly with those little centering breathing exercises. And it kind of helps you with your reactions to these people. You're feeling calmer in yourself. You're perhaps having an expectation that people might be stressed around you, but you know that you can handle it more calmly because you're feeling filled up. You've taken care of yourself first. And what's that other saying they always say? You have to take care of yourself first before you can really care for others properly. And that's sometimes, as women, sorry, maybe guys do too, but women tend to feel that's a little bit selfish, or can do. And that's something I've always had to sort of work hard at for myself. And okay, no, it's not selfish. We have to care for ourselves before we can actually care for people as well better.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome, thanks.
One thing, Robyn, about making people remember how they feel, how you make them feel.
Yes.
I have a little trick, well, not a trick really. I have a little thing I do at the office. I bring a lot of pastries and sweets and chocolates, and they always seem to remember that all the time.
Right.
So
It
they
works.
always remember how they feel when I bring them all those treats.
Oh,
So-
great, we got a meeting with Angelou today. Yay, yes.
I had meetings with the city of Toronto with some pretty high up people there. And so what I learned to do was, when I started going to the meetings, I would bring in a bunch of Italian pastries.
Ah, yes.
And they always remembered that, but they never remembered what the meeting was about.
Oh. Whoops. Not quite the effect you want. But yes, cool. They'll remember the name and what you brought. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anything else? We got, what do we have? Just under 5 minutes, Helen? If anyone else has something else they want to share or ask, or anything that you now perceive that you can have control over that you felt you couldn't before, is another way of thinking of it. Oh, sure. Thank you, Anna, so much. Great to have you here. Thank you. She just said she has another meeting she has to run off to.
Okay.
It's 10 o'clock. So I'd like to thank Robyn. That was a great presentation. A lot of information. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. And thank you very much, Robyn.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robyn.
Thank you
That was
very
great.
much.
And thank you so much for coming, and thanks
Bye.
for your feedback today too.
Thank
and I
you.
appreciate the participating. Thanks.
Thank you,
And
Robyn. It was
and
great.
don't forget, let your friends know that it's recorded and it's on the Chamber website.
Oh, right.
Oh, cool.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
thanks.
Stay healthy,
Okay.
everyone.
Thanks, Helen, for keeping us
Bye-bye.
organized.
Thank
Bye.
you so
care.
much.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks,
Bye.
Helen.
Thanks, Helen.
Thanks, Robyn. It was really good.
You're welcome, Helen. Thank you so much. Appreciate it today, too.
Okay. Take care.